Get up, stand up for your rights. Get up, stand up, don't give up the fight. Preacher man, don't tell me heaven is on the earth. He's a duppy and he don't know what life is really worth. It's not all that glitter is gold. Half the story has never been told, and now you see the light. You're gonna stand up for your rights. Come on. Okay, so we were talking about unretainable urges. So there are 13 natural urges of the body that should never be retained, because if they are retained, they cause problems in the body. They cause a dysregulation of the humor first at the organ, primarily the gas humor, and then that spreads to other parts and causes disease. If not treated with certain tips that they give you on how to treat the suppression. But the main thing is you should not suppress it in the first place. But unfortunately, in society, and particularly in women's society, and a clear example is public school system, where I see the women's society in full fledged, and in their society, this is normal, as I mentioned in the last video. Um, for example, in school, kids cannot use the restroom without permission. That's right there, the suppression of the natural urge, and there's a lot of suppression that poor kids have to go through in order to become adulterated adults. Anyhow, so these were the 13 urges that I started talking about, and I have other videos talking about, but in this videos I'm gonna keep it simple, keep it short. So now, when you suppress these urges in general, there's certain consequences that happens when it is done repeatedly, and then an incurable state comes up once you keep suppressing it, and that incurable state has these symptoms: increased thirst and suffering from pain. So these are actually two symptoms, but increased thirst and more pain sensitivity, then becoming emaciated or skinny, becoming very wasted in appearance. And the third is vomiting of toxic food. So I guess the vomiting instinct becomes more active. So these diseases are caused by either suppressing these urges or forcefully initiating these urges. Now, in the world out there, we don't have the right to our urges, to release our natural urges. So because it is regulated and we can only do it at certain times in certain places, then we tend to even forcefully initiate these urges because we feel we won't get the time to use the restroom later on. So even forcefully initiating these 13 natural urges, well, that's why one reason pornography is bad, because it's forcefully stimulating the urge for seminal ejaculation. Or eating when you're not hungry is another cardinal rule in Ayurveda and natural systems. And that's because you don't want to forcefully initiate these urges, these 13 urges. So I've already talked about the urge for urination, defecation, seminal ejaculation that is suppressed. Now I want to go to a related urge, the suppression of the urge for passing flatus. And it's sad that people try to make other people feel bad for passing gas, because if you pass gas openly or loudly when the urge develops and do it naturally, then it tends not to smell as bad as if you suppress the urge and then sneakily try to get rid of your gas, and then you get a really stinky gas, but nobody knows it was you. So it's really sad that these urges are being suppressed, because it leads to diseases of all sorts, mental and the physical ones listed here. Okay, so let's get to the passing gas. Suppressing the urge to pass flatus um, when there's a natural desire for it to move downwards. Hopefully you can see this. It aggravates the gas humor and it prevents elimination of urine, feces, and flatus. So once you suppress the urge, then other urges get affected too. Urine, feces, and flatus. That's why it's so important not to suppress these urges, especially this urge of passing flatus. So it can lead to constipation and pain with distension in the lower abdomen, exhaustion, and other digestive disorders. Okay, so a lot of problems in the gut. And since I said you must obey your gut, because your gut health is very crucial to your body's health. Therefore, definitely do not suppress the urge for passing flatus or the other ones, defecation and so urination and so forth. It can also cause eye disorders, disturbed disturbed heartbeat, and indigestion due to sluggish digestive fire. Okay, so it can cause a lot of problems. So to treat these conditions caused by repeatedly suppressing gas, it recommends the intake of and massage with oil, so snehana therapy, like ghee, and also fomentation. We usually done after oil therapy or oil massage. Fomentation means sweat therapy or heat therapy, dry heat, usually, I believe. Then there are suppositories and enemas to really get the things moving down there. So these are the therapies. Also, it says to consume digestive and carbonative foods and drinks. That means food that stimulate your digestive appetite and digestion in general. And also that expel gas called carbonated foods, such as certain spices like cumin are carbonated, and drinks. And then also avoid the suppression of past flatus, as it shouldn't have to be said. Okay, now I want to skip forward. I'll get to these other ones later because I believe there is some suppression of the urge for belching, but I feel in America at least more important are the urges for tears and sleep that are suppressed. So let's get to it. So they say real men don't cry, or boys shouldn't cry, Boys don't cry. Only girls have the right to cry. Anyway, many of those crocodile tears, I don't want to comment on that right now. But when you suppress the urge for tears, it's very important because these are the 13 unretainable urges, and the eye is a very crucial organ. So when you suppress the urge of the eye to cry, and it also affects the whole sinus and the throat, then you're causing dysregulation, obviously, you can imagine, in those organs. So let's read up about what happens when you suppress this urge. Now, I don't know if you were able to see the last one, so I'm just going to read it like this. Tears are produced due to grief or when the heart is touched by other emotions. Avoiding crying can cause emotional disorders, rhinitis, which is sinus inflammation, and you have a lot of stuffy nose and drainage. It's liquid draining out of your nose. I have that problem. Not so much anymore because I'm smoking. And then there's eye disorders that are caused. So emotional disorders, it affects your heart and your mind. It affects your sinuses. It affects your eye, causing eye disorders. It affects your heart, obviously, heart diseases, cardiac disease. Anorexia affects your metabolism, dizziness, and other complications. So there's a lot of problems that can be caused by suppressing tears. So how do you treat a lifetime of suppressing the tears, right? For a lot of American males, this might be true if they're raised in families where the tough man and so forth. Now that would be fine, but unfortunately, society is not arranged to conducive to the individual human. So these emotional and mental problems are going to be increasing, not decreasing. So we need to be aware. So anyway, to treat the diseases of the eye and the sinuses and the emotions and the heart and the weight gain diseases, to treat these conditions. So I guess anorexia because they don't feel like eating. Um, but to treat these conditions, you must have some good sleep, use of asava, arista, and other medicines. I believe these are vines and intoxicants, because they also promote good sleep, I guess, and they help you stay exhilarated and cheerful. Another therapy, and laugh and joke. So another thing that women's society, they don't like guys, especially joking around, and they have a lot of little insults, calling them immature or insecure or obnoxious. That's another one. They think they basically think we're little boys. That's how they treat us because they're so brainwashed in the head. But anyway, don't let those biatches tell you not to laugh and joke, and definitely don't let them tell you not to cry. And if you have the diseases caused by not crying or suppressing your crying, have good sleep. Use Asava and Arista. Look it up. I think they're vines and other medicines, cannabis. Staying exhilarated and cheerful, laughing and joking. So these are the therapies for suppressing your tears. Next, the last one I want to talk about today is suppressing the urge for sleep. Now, that's another thing, students have to suppress, college students suppress that all the time, have to drink coffee to get through the day or get through the morning classes and so forth. So kids are also suppressed because they don't get their full sleep. Some schools, as early as sixth grade, the kids have to start getting up at 7, or have to start arriving at school at 7. So it's ridiculous how this urge is being suppressed. And then, of course, in the work world, God forbid you take a little nap. They think that you're stealing from them. You're stealing their money just for taking care of your body. It's ridiculous because they're the ones exploiting us as wage slaves. But anyway, suppressing of the urge for sleep. Wow, this is a really dark video, huh? Suppressing of the urge to sleep results in yawning, exhaustion, lethargy, malaise or bad mood, drowsiness, headache, heaviness in the eyes, dark circles under the eyes, and dizziness. And we all know how miserable it feels not to have enough sleep. So I guess the most serious condition would be just the exhaustive mental state, which can cause accidents on the road, for example. Lethargy, malaise, desire action. You basically become a zombie if you haven't slept enough. So it's really sad that we are denied these rights. And on the streets, the homeless people are really denied the right to sleep. It's really tragic how people like to bother them just because they're an eyesore. It's ridiculous. It's the arrogance of people. But anyhow, headaches, heaviness in the eyes, and dark circles under the eyes. I guess that's the worst thing for girls. Dark circles under the eyes. For guys, I guess it's exhaustion and lethargy, not being able to work and make money. But anyway, treatment requires obviously sufficient and good sleep and complete rest. Also helpful is body massage because of the fact that it alleviates the gas humor, and gas pacifying diet, diet conducive to the gas humor, because that will help promote sleep too. And drugs and lifestyle changes can also be used to help you not suppress the urge for sleep. So it just there's some more I could talk about, and I already talked about the other three. And I think that's the video is already almost 15 minutes, so I think I'll keep it short. And I'll just remind you that you only have one life, you only have one body, and it's better to live taking care of yourself and your body and your spirit, which is even bigger priority, than to be on your knees and let people suppress your natural urges. All right. So, like I said, these things cause diseases such as the gas humor dysregulation causes many diseases. So basically, a lot of diseases are had their doors open by you suppressing these urges. So make sure to take care of yourself and listen to your body and follow your natural innate intelligence. listen to your gut and think for yourself. That's me checking out. See you later.